Alright, we're gonna start this off with a banger. So fact no. One is there are more Earth-sized planets out there in the universe than stars. I know that one might be slightly debatable because there are different definitions for what constitutes an Earth-sized planet and how exactly we spot them. But either way, if you change the definition slightly, it doesn't really matter because NASA scientists estimate that there are at least as many planets like Earth or bigger out there as there are stars. This blew my mind when I heard it, and it just goes to show that the potential for life out there is nearly endless. Next up, fact no. 2 is that there are at least 7 layers of space. Now, I know that sounds weird, but let me explain. First, you have your planets and then the atmosphere around those planets. Then there's the exosphere, that S, the outer layer of a planet's atmosphere, where molecules are so far apart they almost in a vacuum. And then there's outer space or interplanetary space, which is the space between planets. Then there's interstellar space, which is the space between star systems. Intergalactic space is the space between galaxies, and then the final frontier, the intergalactic medium, which is the space between the galaxies. And according to some sources, there could be even more layers beyond that. Fact no. 3. The Earth is closer to the Sun in the winter than in the summer. I know that one's gonna blow some minds. When the Earth is in winter in the northern hemisphere, it's actually closer to the Sun. On average, the Earth's orbit is slightly elliptical, meaning sometimes it's closer to the Sun, and sometimes it's further away. The Earth's orbit is about 3% closer during winter than it is during summer. And while this has no effect on our weather here on Earth, it does mean that we technically get more sunlight during the winter months. Okay, fact no. 4 stars can rain down from the sky. And don't worry, when I say rain, I don't mean metaphorically. These stars actually fall from the sky like water falling from clouds. It's called a meteor shower, and these showers happen when the Earth passes through paths of debris left behind by comets. These pieces of debris burn up in our atmosphere just like shooting stars, which also makes it rain. Meteorites are the pieces of debris that make it all the way through the atmosphere and land on Earth. They're extremely heavy and they fall at incredibly high speeds. But because they're so small compared to a star, they're often overlooked and underestimated. No. 5. A broken heart could be a legitimate cause of death. Next time, be careful. Next time you feel like your heart is breaking, ask yourself if it really is. What I'm talking about is something called broken heart syndrome, also known as stress cardiomyopathy. It is a real medical condition where a sudden physical or emotional shock can trigger a temporary change in the function of your heart, making it harder for your heart to pump blood around your body. Symptoms include chest pain, shortness of breath, and irregular heartbeat. And if left untreated, it can lead to heart failure. While most people recover from this condition, 6% of cases are fatal. Researchers believe that the hormone adrenaline is responsible for this condition. Your body pumps out huge amounts of adrenaline during moments of intense stress, and too much adrenaline can weaken your heart. They think that the intense stress causes a reaction in your nervous system that triggers the release of adrenaline. That adrenaline temporarily makes your heart work harder, leading to symptoms of heart failure. Fact no. 7. If you were born on another planet, you wouldn't be able to survive on Earth. If you were born and raised on Mars, for example, you wouldn't be able to survive here on Earth. Why? Because of the difference in gravity. You see, the force of gravity depends on the mass of the planet and the distance from its center. Mars is smaller than Earth, so its gravity is weaker. If you grew up on Mars, your bones and muscles would be weaker, and you would find it hard to walk, climb stairs, or do any other physical activity here on Earth. Plus, the Earth's gravity would pull on your body differently. The extra gravity would put a lot of strain on your joints, and you might not be able to handle it. Your cardiovascular system would also have a tough time. The Earth's gravity is about 3 times stronger than Mars. So when you go from low gravity to high gravity, your blood vessels would experience a massive increase in pressure, potentially causing blood clots or bursting blood vessels. Your body needs to adapt to these changes to survive, and you need to spend weeks or even months getting used to the Earth's gravity before you could safely leave Mars. Of course, if you were born and raised here on Earth, you'd probably have no problems living on Mars. Our bodies evolved on this planet and under these conditions, and we are perfectly adapted to the Earth's gravity. Now, fact no. 8. We can hear sounds from space. Now, I know what you're thinking. Space is a vacuum, so how can there be any sound? Well, let me explain. Sounds are vibrations that travel through a medium, such as air, water, or even a solid object. But space isn't completely silent. There are actually a lot of vibrations out there. For example, NASA's Voyager spacecraft detected a strange hum coming from deep space. It was a low-frequency sound that was coming from all directions, and it's still there today. Some astronomers believe that it may be the sound of the universe itself vibrating, while others believe it could be coming from a source that we haven't yet discovered. In addition to this mysterious hum, scientists have also been able to hear other sounds from space, such as the crash of comets hitting the surface of other planets. These sounds can be picked up by spacecraft that are equipped with special microphones, and they can give us valuable information about the objects that they're orbiting. For example, the impact of comets on Saturn's moon Titan has helped scientists learn more about the moon's atmosphere and surface composition. Fact number 9. Black holes aren't actually black. Despite their name, black holes don't actually absorb all light. In fact, they don't absorb any light at all. Black holes are regions in space where gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape their grasp. They're formed when massive stars collapse at the end of their lives, and they have a powerful effect on the matter around them. Black holes distort and magnify images of objects that get too close, making them appear brighter. This phenomenon is known as gravitational lensing. Black holes also emit a faint glow that comes from the superheated gas and dust that surrounds them. This material is called the accretion disk. As it falls into the black hole, it heats up to millions of degrees and emits bright light and radiation. The light that we see from black holes is usually in the X-ray and gamma-ray spectrum, which is invisible to the naked eye. However, with special equipment, we can detect and study this light to learn more about the black hole and its surroundings. So while black holes may not be literally black, they're certainly some of the most mysterious and fascinating objects in the universe. Alright, fact number 10. Scientists can measure the age of the universe. Believe it or not, scientists have actually figured out a way to calculate the age of our universe. And they came up with a pretty precise estimate. They use a method called the cosmic distance ladder. This method uses various techniques to measure the distances to objects in space and then work backwards to calculate how long it took for those objects to get there. By measuring the distances to nearby stars and galaxies, and then extrapolating that data to more distant objects, scientists have been able to create a map of the universe that allows them to calculate how old it is. According to this method, the age of the universe is estimated to be around 13.8 billion years old. That's a pretty big number, and it's hard to wrap your mind around just how old the universe really is. But it's also kind of amazing to think about everything that has happened in that time, from the Big Bang to the formation of stars and galaxies, to the evolution of life on Earth. There has been a lot going on in the universe over the past 13.8 billion years. And who knows what the next few billion years will bring. And finally, for fact number 11, time doesn't pass the same way on other planets. Time is relative, meaning it can pass at different rates depending on the observer's frame of reference. This means that if you were to travel to a planet with a different gravitational pull than Earth, you would experience time differently than we do here on Earth. For example, if you were to travel to a planet with stronger gravity, time would pass slower for you than it would for someone staying on Earth. This is because the strength of gravity affects the passage of time. The stronger the gravity, the slower time passes. If you were to stay on a planet with stronger gravity than Earth for, say, a year, you would return to Earth and find that less than a year had passed. So time is not constant, and it can pass at different rates depending on where you are in the universe. This is one of the many mind-bending concepts related to space and time that we are still trying to understand. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more crazy and horrifying space facts.